Good evening, friends. Myself, Nirav Shah. By profession, I am a company secretary and I am a practicing in income tax and GST. Thanks to Isaka Ahmedabad chapter for giving me the opportunity to deliver a talk on GST. Today's 14th April, Friday, session on today's session on two parts. First is recent amendment or changes in GST, and second one is the deliberation on Supreme Court judgment under Section 148A. First session is taken or delivered by me, and second session is delivered by CA Nitin Pathak. Isaka Ahmedabad chapter organizing educational program on every Friday at 6:30 p.m. on different subject by different faculty. Our forthcoming program or past presentation, YouTube presentation or PPT presentation available on blog canitinmpathak.blogspot.in. You can send your query or poser for any subject or regarding the matter of GST like income tax, whatever. You can send it through across through email nitinampathak@gmail.com. We will answer it. Or forthcoming program also details available on blog. Now start. Before starting the presentation today's session, the brief information of forthcoming program I would like to share with you. Upcoming program on 21st April 2023, changes in IT Act, income tax and QA ITR form and utility changes, QA budget taken by will be taken by CA Nitin M. Pathak at June. And second seminar on 28th April, overview of FEMA for NRI or IT compliances for NRI, non-resident, also delivered by CA Nitin M. Pathak. For detail, visit canitinmpathak.blogspot.com. Today, I would like to cover following topics on GST update. Recent amendment in GST QA budget or minor or major changes, day-to-day changes by notification circular. Second thing is GST MHC scheme 2023, e-commerce QA composition dealer, panel provision for e-commerce operator, minor amendments. Let us take a one by one. Before starting all amendment, start with the latest amendment the day before yesterday by notification issued by CBSC. Restriction on generation of e-invoice. Restriction on generation of e-invoice after 7 days of issue of the having turnover 100 crore. 100 crore for auto. Auto is like aggregate annual turnover. This restriction will be applied to all document for IRN generation. IRN is for all document information reference number, invoice reference number needs to be uploaded in IRP portal whose turnover is more than 100 crore last financial year. At present, there is no time limit for uploading the e-invoicing to the IRP portal for recording the IRN number of all documents. Now, government amending this section restricted to 7 days from the date of issue of invoice needs to be reported on IRP portal with IRN number of document including sales invoice, tax invoice, debit note, credit note, whatever document regarding e-invoice needs to be uploaded on IRP portal with IRN number needs to be generated for the same. For example, uh, an invoice date is 1st April. It cannot be uploaded 8 April after amendment. And this will be applicable full-fledged with effect from 1st May 2023. For this, some of the litigation for the non-booking of invoices or debit not credit not miss out, and after the end of the year you find out the missing bill invoice which is not reported, or there is a needs to be reconciled with the invoice with the data books of account. Their litigation or compliance needs to be short out by regular updating or recording the document with the IRN number. So government good initiative for this. Now start the today's update or today's session amendment on GST. The budget is nothing very important for GST through expectation, where there is an MNG scheme 2023 plus some of measure for simplification of GST. There are total 17 amendment proposed by the Honorable Finance Minister, and let a look at proposed major amendment at proposed in budget. Government day to day updating or amending the some provision or changes in act to simplify the GST, or nowadays if you want to business, any taxpayer needs to be GST, because I think everybody ready to pay the GST, because GST, if you're doing a business, GST is necessary or mandatory for small scale to big scale. GSTN is required. GSTN is like a fundamental tax license. Total amendment and CGST 15 and SGST 2. Two amendment. Let us take one by one. First of all, revocation of cancellation of GST and registration. Where registration of registered person has been cancelled on uh, sumoto basis or suspended by AO, for regist can apply for revocation of cancellation within the such time limit and subject to condition. Rest will be prescribed in the law, CGST Act or SGST Act. Increase in time limit for furnishing return where notice SCN for issued on the basis of best judgment assessment. Presently, registered person having a receive a notice for best judgment and assessment under section 62 of GST Act required to furnish the return. The date of receipt of notice, the time limit was 30 days, increased by another 60 days. That is total 60 days without interest and penalty. After amending section 62, government extended time limit another 60 days. Means if your registration will be has been cancelled, sumoto or suspended, you can apply within the 60 days from the date of cancellation without interest and penalty, or you may another 60 days apply with interest or penalty or late fees amounting rupees 100 as of now per day penalty, and you can apply and restore your GSTN and doing a business or as a regular taxpayer, you can restore your GSTI. At present, time limit for bill-related filing GSTR 1 for sales invoices reporting, GSTI 3B for tax liability, GSTR 8, 9 annual return, 9C audit has been specified. Before this amendment, there is no time limit or introduction of GST. as per the Act, belated GSTR 1, 3B, 8, 9, 9C for the tax period within the 3 years from the due date of return. After that, you are not allowed to file the return. The class of person or register may be notified by the government can file GSTR 1, 3B, 8, 9, 9C belatedly, even 3 years from the due date. It means now if you have not filed your GSTR 1, 3B, 8, 9, 9C more than 3 years, now you can file with interest or penalty specified in the Act. Interest shall be computed in accordance with the recipient fails to pay the supplier within 1 year. This is the very tax burden on GST and recipients of the service or goods. On event of failure to pay to the supplier or amount of goods or service within the 180 days from the date of tax invoice, ITC will by the recipient required to pay to the government. Interest liability calculate in accordance with the section 50 of the CGST Act. In short, if you are sell your product in furtherance to this buy raw material from the supplier and you take the credit and you don't make the payment within 180 days from the date of invoice, you need to okay, you have not ITC reverse within 180 days time, then you are liable to pay to the government with interest and penalty for that, or 100% ITC will be reversed along with the interest and penalties prescribed under section 50 of the CGST Act. This is the major amendment in budget announcement by the finance minister. Dealers supplying goods through electronic e-commerce operator cannot opt for the composition scheme amendment in section 10. Now, composition dealer can sell goods through e-commerce operator intrastate. There is a restriction in existing law. Dealer who can supplying the goods through e-commerce operator can not go for the composition scheme under section 10(2). Registered person shall be eligible for the same if he is not engaged in the making of goods or services through the electronic commerce operator required to be collect the tax HSO under section 52. Here through amendment goods or word proposed to be removed. Hence restriction as mentioned in section 10(2)(d) regarding goods will be removed. Let us discuss in detail. If you are a seller, if you have a product, you want to sell your product through e-commerce. As present, you need to register or take a regular as a regular taxpayer. You take a registration of GST, then you can sell your product through e-commerce. You cannot opt for the composition as a composition dealer. Now, government given an option to you, or they opening the one window for who want to sell his product through e-commerce within the limit of intrastate through e-commerce. Now, dealer can sell his product through e-commerce under registration of composition dealer and sell it product e-commerce through, but limitation is intrastate only. This is the great initiative by the government because the local business can't come one to one and everybody wants to the business. Now this limitation gone. Now everybody sell his product if they have some product which is like a like a um, not more than 2 days or sometime the product will be destroyed and sell it immediately. They can sell through e-commerce and get the customer through e-commerce. So it is the great initiative. Dealer supplying goods through e-commerce operator can opt for composition dealer amendment section. Proposed in section 10 to a C. E-commerce operator can go for composition scheme. For goods, composition dealer cannot make the interstate. Earlier I said that only for intrastate. Relief for small dealer who want to sell the good in same city, same state through e-commerce operator and wants to take benefit of composition means like the normal rate of turnover you can pay and relax. E-commerce operator like Amazon and Flipkart, small dealer can make the local sale through operator with the benefit of the composition, and this will be effective from the 1st October 2023 for amendment UID to register. In short, now small scale dealer sell his product through e-commerce and his status would be changed from UID unregistered dealer to registered taxpayer under the composition dealer, and at the rate of 1% or 2%, whatever specified in the CGST Act will be applicable to his product. But I think there is some limitation or some threshold limit for the same. As of now was 1.5 crore for goods, and for services 50 lakhs. Now e-commerce operator now enabling the provision for the small scale for uh, uh, who can sell his product within the limit of intrastate, not for interstate. They are allowed to register as a e-commerce operator supplier and sell and allowed to sell his product through e-commerce. CSR activity, no ITC. Section 75. Section 75. Goods or services or both received by taxable person which are used or intended to be used for activity relating to the obtaining under corporate social responsibility referred in section 135 of the Companies Act. So the supplies received for CSR activity shall not be eligible ITC. Why? Proposed amendment has been clear that ITC on supply for CSR activity will not be. At present, what happened? Some of the companies are at the liability arise that they have to the compulsory make some contribution to CSR or NGO for 2% of net profit, and they will get a credit of to contributions under a CSR activity. Now, after amendment, they will not get the ITC on that. Means if company contribute or getting some CSR activity or they given the funds to the or contribute to fund to the CSR activity, then ITC will be not available, and in the books of company they have to compulsory expense out as a whole amount as a expense out of CSR contribution. No registration for exempted supply. Exempted supplies. Section 23 given immunity for registration for dealing in exempt supply. Exempt or non-taxable goods. Section 22 person liable for registration and section 24 for compulsory registration. In certain cases, immunity given to section 23 was disputable and not free from controversy. This amendment retrospective effect and effective from 1st July 2017. It is a big relief to the person dealing in exempted goods and non-taxable. In short, if your product under exempt category at present, they have to be registered under section 24, or your product after it's ready to sell product under section 22, it's liable to take a registration. Tax will be not applicable, but you need to take a registration for the exempted product or non-taxable product of your goods. Now, government give the big relief to those seller. They don't have to take a registration for selling his exempted product or non-taxable or nil rated product selling through ready-made product after um, uh, after this amendment, and this will be effective from the 1st July, retrospective effect from the 1st July 2017. First time in history of GST, government introducing penal provision for e-commerce operator. Section 122 1 IB. If e-commerce operator allow unregistered dealer to make sale through its platform and allow composition dealer to make sale interstate through its platform, then penal action are being introduced. New penal provision on e-commerce operator eco. Uh, any interstate supply made by composition dealer, any supply made by URD, unregistered dealer, where such URD is not exempt from the registration specifically by the notification. Means some of the seller are not specified under the circular or whatever government time to time notified that they have not allowed to take a registration, like casual taxpayer or some area like gift city or whatever. They don't have to take a registration by notification, fails to furnish correct detail in statement to be furnished under the subsection 4 of the 52, any outward supply of the good effected through it by person exempted from obtaining the registration under the act. Amount of penalty 10,000, or amount of tax which is required to be paid if such supply is made by the regular register dealer or whichever is higher. Now we'll discuss in detail penal provision for e-commerce operator. Government now penalize the e-commerce now they right to penalize the e-commerce operator for allowing the URD, unregistered dealer, for sell his product through e-commerce without registration of GST, or or selling their product through e-commerce under composition scheme or composition dealer sell his product between interstate transaction through this platform, e-commerce platform, then e-commerce operator will be liable to penalize. What amount of penalty? Amount of penalty will be 10,000, or amount of tax amount for the same to be paid made by the regular whatever rate applicable to the regular taxpayer or dealer, whichever is higher. In short, and exception for those this will not applicable, like the government authority or any local body, they are exempted from this penal provision for e-commerce. Means like I think like some e-commerce e-government places, e-marketplaces are not under the cover of electronic e-commerce operator. So we now e-commerce operator will very careful before before take allowed to be registered as a supplier uh, through e-commerce. Need to check whether they have a registration of GST in, or as a regular taxpayer or composition dealer. And I think they have to specify the some limit for composition dealer interested. Means if a dealer is located or take a registration in Gujarat, then the e-commerce operator see that see that the dealer will sell his product only on Gujarat. If they want to sell, if they are allowed to sell his product out of Gujarat, then e-commerce operator will be liable for the same. Now, if regular taxpayer register as a e-commerce operator and selling his product regularly through e-commerce operator, now um, if this turnover limit would be less than 1.5 crore last financial year, now they opt for composition dealer from the 1st April, and they are not intimating the e-commerce operator for the same and selling his product as usual as last year. Then e-commerce operator will be penalized, because time to time e-commerce operator needs to be take some KYC form, or information for the changing in the status from the regular taxpayer to composition dealer. Mm, Composition, if they change the status from regular to composition dealer, then the limit will be collapse. Means suppose he is selling his product outside Gujarat, then nothing allowed to sell only Gujarat and under intimation to e-commerce operator time to time. This is the like a platform to sell his product, but with some limitation, and very careful for the e-commerce operator to doing this business or providing the services to to dealing with the supplier of the product. Prosecution and monetary limits under section 132. Sum of offense has been removed from the prosecution list. There is a change in minimum threshold limit for the launching of prosecution is now increased from 1 crore to 2 crore, except in case issuance of the fake invoice, where limit is proposed to be maintained at 1 crore only. Fake invoice. What is the definition of fake invoice? Issue any invoice or bill without supply of goods or services, or both, in violation of provision of this act or the rules made thereunder, leading to wrongful availment or utilization of the input credit or refund in case of the refund of the tax. In short, there are the n number of offense under the GST likely to be arise, and they have to with the prosecution list, under the prosecution list. And there is a limit at present, there is a limit 1 crore or proposed to be launching after announcement in budget that 1 crore to 2 crore, except in fake invoice. What happen in fake invoice? uh, if you invoice is issuing your invoice, and you need to generate e-way bill, e-invoicing if applicable, but non-delivery of goods, non-movement of goods, or there is a different in tax rate, or there is the change in HSN code, whatever mechanical error in the issuing invoices, of in case of supply of goods or services, if service is not rendered, and is also include is those all are included under fake invoice. In this case, I think now the bogus billing or fake invoice both are same. Like what happened uh, if you are selling your product and you have to pay the GST or generator or extract your liability through fake invoice. Now you are liable for the fake invoice, or or utilization of input tax credit will be needs to be reversed with along and pay with the interest and penalty. Or if you issued a refund on by fake invoices, then needs to be returned with along with the penalty and interest. Compounding of offense under section 138. No compounding of offense in case related to the issuing of fake invoice, leading to wrongful availment or utilization of ITC or refund of tax. Other offense under section 132 can be compounded only once. New rate for compounding is as under minimum 25% of the tax involved and the maximum amount not being more than 100% of tax involved. At present rate what minimum 10,000 or 50% of tax involved, whichever is higher, maximum amount of the 30,000 or 150 of the percentage of the tax involved, whichever is higher. Amount of compounding is proposed to be reduced considerably. Now, in short, compounding offense under section 138 for the rate or specified for the compounding of in case of the interest or penalty leviable under the breaking of offense or any for issuing of the fake invoice. At present, what rate they specified in the act is minimum 10,000 or 50% of tax involved, whichever is higher, and maximum 30,000 or 150% of the tax involved, whichever is higher. Now, amending after amendment, a new rate for compounding for the same issuing of the fake invoice will be minimum 25% of the tax involved and maximum amount not being more than 100% of tax involved. Amount of compounding proposed to be reduced considerably. It not means that fake invoice is allowed to be with you issuing the fake invoice, and if you are squatted by the is it any inquiry or conducting inquiry, and then you have to pay the tax and penalty and you get it from the clean. No, no, you are liable for prosecution also there. So don't do that. This is the rate, but it's not for the fake invoice allow. Is wrongful availment or utilization of IT. If you were to take that today, you take the ITC on that and claim the refund, and I think get it the refund in future or a certain time limit specified in CGST Act, you are liable to get it back to government with interest penalty or needs to be written reverse ITC on that fake invoice with penalty and interest will be there. Requirement of the consent of related party while sharing the information. Registration from in RG1 supplier. Information furnishing in 3B and one supplier of identity both. GST annual return 9 and 9C supplier, e-invoicing supplier and recipient identity specified. Any other detail as may be provided by the rules on common portal, supplier and recipients. And these all are not applicable or not action lie against the government or common portal, including government body or local body. In short, uh, registration of a GST with the concern of supplier before sharing the information with the government needs to be taken. Information furnishing in 3B means that the tax liability will be computation by the 3B, GSTR 3B, and the GSTR 1 for sales register, or the information through IFF for quarterly taxpayer. needs to be concern of before information furnished in return 3B and 1 needs to be taken by the supplier and recipients. Both identity of recipient needs to be specified or intimation will be there. GST and annual return and the audit 9C supplier concern needs to be taken. In for invoicing or the invoicing generating supplier and recipients, both identity of recipients consent will be needed. Generation of generating e-way bill supplier and recipients, both identity of recipient needs to be taken. Any other detail provided by the rule on common portal supplier and recipients, if identity is not specified, then you are not allowed to sharing the information. And this no impact liability to pay tax on relevant supply or return, means including the debit note or credit note which is not uploading on the portal through GST or 1 or 3B, and they are adjusting like in books of account, it will be impact by the sharing of information, because nowadays 360-degree information with the department. If you are file your return through GST or GST or 1 and 3B, the government sharing this information with the IT department, MCA department means ROC, corporate Ministry of Corporate Affairs, SEBI, any other. Now, if you are something hide or not a proper reporting uh, to the filing while filing the return, then you are be in trouble in future. So if before filing your return needs to be taken care, whatever information they want, or give correct and true and correct information while filing the return, because your data will be sharing by to the other department on one click. So you need to reconcile while filing or finalizing books of account to it's general to reconcile every year. What happened? New functionality on interest calculation. This functionality will be facilitate and assist the taxpayer in doing self-assessment. This functionality arises at a system computed interest on the basis of tax liability value declared by the taxpayer, along with the detail about the period to which pertaining the interest applicable, if any, will be computed after filing of said 3B and auto-populated table 5 of the 3B in next period. The facility would be similar to the collection of late fees for 3B filed after due date posted in next period 3B. This functionality will inform the taxpayer about the manner of system computed interest for each head, and hence assist the taxpayer doing correct computation of interest tax liability of any past period declared in the 3B for current period. In short, in budget, they have a mechanism or they have added the one function in 3B. Auto-populated 3B will be reflected in your 3B, like interest will be calculated on the basis of your last filing, the return date to the due date. Whatever you delayed in the filing the return after due date, they will calculate it on your also on by system, and they will I think give the information, okay, you are liable to be pay this interest in next period. You are and with okay, before filing, or I think click on submit button of 3B, the pop-up will be there. Okay, you will be liable to pay the interest in next period if you filing the this return after due date. And this is for you need not to manual calculation of interest is now it will be gone. Now government given a function, they will show you the interest amount what you need to pay, and you pay in next 3B or next month or whatever you are. I think if you are quarterly, then next quarter you need to pay the interest amount. Other authentication made mandatory for filing revocation of application in form RAG registration 21 by normal taxpayer. Normal taxpayer will not be able to file revocation application in 21 if they have not got their other authentication eKYC with the submission of other enrollment ID for eKYC verification for existing and new registration. Existing taxpayer as well as the person entity applying for new registration are now mandatory to requirement provide other enrollment number for KYC verification. Uh, you heard about few days back Aadhaar PAN linking. Government started full-fledged. If you not linking your Aadhaar PAN, then your PAN will be inoperative, and the deadline got extended up to the 30th June. Means Aadhaar is mandatory to link with everywhere. Now in India, Aadhaar based authentication is required under the GST. If you want to file application for I think your cancellation of Shimoto the registration or suspended, and you are not allowed to file the revocation of application for of your GSTN to be restored. If before filing application, you need to other authentication. And for regular taxpayer who have a registration needs to be at the other authentication as soon as possible through OTP, whatever, or KYC document needs to be uploaded. If you applying also applied for Aadhaar and you have only Aadhaar enrollment number, then you put it your other enrollment number or uploading your eKYC document for verification. Then your other authentication needs to be done. Triggering of alert to return module in case of change in status or category of taxpayer. Now, an appropriate alert will be displayed in return module to taxpayer whatever the status of taxpayer or taxpayer category changed due to following action by the back office in the registration module. Registration restoration happen through restoration of registration functionality in back office portal of the registration application, revocation application, and cancellation application, compulsory withdrawal from the composition levy. At present, what happen if you make any correction or any amendment in through core field or non-core field, or if you have a GST and you amending the some authority change or changing the status from regular to the composition dealer application for or withdrawing from the composition application, there is the no mechanism to you will be I think getting the message for said changes or whatever your consultant applying for the change. Now after amendment of this change, triggering point means you will receive a alert through email or by the registered mobile number. You will get a message says that you have applied for revocation of application for revocation of cancellation of registration, for withdrawing from the composition scheme or of for composition scheme, or a change in any signatory authority, or any other changes in core field or non-core field, whatever. Now you will be be in touch with any change in your registration information, or change in your status from regular to composition, or composition to register, regular taxpayer on your time to time. Earlier, we discussed revocation of cancellation, filing of application for revocation of cancellation of registration. Taxpayer can file application revocation of cancellation of registration done if your registration has been cancelled suo moto within 30 days time at present for cancellation order passed. Wide notification number 2021. Central text dated 18th May 2021. Rule number 23 of the CSC amended. Extended time for applying revocation cancellation of sufficient cause. Taxpayer is now able to file revocation application even after 30 calendar days, but within the 90 days for the date of where the cancellation order was passed. To do the show, they require to be fill additional fields such as the reason for condonation of delay, and can also add supporting document. In such cases, their application will be forwarded to the component authority for condonation of delay, and post approval component authority will get assigned to respective AO after condonation of delay. In short, if your registration has been cancelled, uh, and or SCN will be issued, and after that your registration will be cancelled, then you at present there is a 30 days time limit for applying the same. Now the government, after amendment, they are extended up to the 90 days time. 90 days, within the 90 days you can apply online with condonation of delay by supporting document for not replying to the SCN, or non-filing of return continuously to half yearly return, or to return last two return. In such cases, your application will be forwarded to the component authority, and uh, and post approval component authority will be get assigned to the respective AO for processing of your application, and your GSTN will be restored. Trade facilitation measure. Section 49 of the CGST Act proposed to be amended allowed transfer of amount available in electronic cash ledger under the CGST Act of the registered person to electronic cash ledger under the said Act or IGST Act of the district person. It will help in improving the liquidity of all those taxpayers who have got multiple registration in different state. If you have a multiple GSTI number for different state under the one pen, what happened till now? Uh, in one state you have a credit in cash ledger, and second other state you will be liable, or the generating liability, or you need to pay through cash ledger, and it create a liquidity crunch in a business, because if one state you have a credit, second state you have liable to pay the tax, and blocking of your fund, or the liquidity crunch there. And in budget, the government announcement of the transfer of credit in the cash ledger to one state, one GST, and to another GST and under the same pen. But a few days back, I really sure that enabling the function on GSTN portal. Now the taxpayer can transfer or allowed to transfer amount available in electronic cash ledger under the same pen to one GSTN to another GSTN within in and mitigate the liquidity crunch. Section 53 is proposed to be amended respective 1st July 2017 to provide that interest would be charged on eligible input tax credit only when such credit avail as well as utilize. Also, the rate of interest notified 53 is proposed to be reduced with effect from 1st July to have 18% from the existing 24%. It will help to remove the ambiguity and legal dispute on issue, benefiting taxpayer at large. The time limit following compliances in respect of particular financial year has been proposed to be extended and fixed to 30th November next financial year. At present, uh, if you claim the credit and your the supplier not file the return or not making the payment or not file the return, and you, in case you need to need to be reverse the credit or some of the credit which is covered under block credit, which is ineligible after ineligible, including that if you take the credit on this month and after some period it will be not be eligible for to take the credit or time limit will be specified, then you need to reverse with the interest at the rate of 24%. Now it will be reduced to up to the 18% per annum, and this will be applicable with effect from 1st July 2017. Second amendment is everybody knows that get time limit for following compliances. If you miss the credit or you can not claim the credit in time, or you need to some amendment in your B2B invoice, B2C invoice, or there is the punching mistake or whatever clerical mistake in return, whatever during the financial year you have done, and you need to some correction or amendment need to be uh, need to be corrected on or before 6 months from the completion of the financial year at present. Now, government extended the time limit for the same will be 30th September to 30th November of the next financial year for the great relief to the taxpayer to before making any reconciliation after finalizing the books of account with the GST books of account, and make the correction within the time limit. Now we are go for GST MST scheme 2023. CBIC has notified fresh central tax notification on 30th March 31st March 2023 to implement of the GST MST scheme. There is the 6 notification are there under GST MST scheme. Government announced in budget this budget to 2023, but it will be applicable implement by issuing notification on 31st March 2023. Latest example. We'll discuss in detail. First, notification number second. GSTR 4 quarterly return for composition dealer who did not file the GSTR 4 for quarter July 17 to March 19 financial year from 1920 to 21 on or before due date. What benefit under the MNC scheme will be there for composition dealer? They are filing their previous return other than nil return with the late fees limited to the maximum penalty per return would be 500, 250 for CGST, 250 for SGST per return. For nil return, there is no fee. Validity for the obtaining obtaining this benefit under the MNC scheme from the 1st April 2023 to 30th June 2023. Notification number third for GST registration application for revocation of cancellation of GST registration. Any taxpayer whose GST registration cancelled by officer on or before 31st December 2022 for the following reason, like failure to file the return for 6 months or 2 quarter continuously, failure to conduct business for a continuous period of 6 months from date of the registration, like filing the nil return continuously 6 months, and such taxpayer did not apply for revocation or within 30 days, it's like means fails to apply for it's like restoration or revocation of cancellation application to the GST officer, not in irrespective of the fact that the appeal was filed and rejected ground of not meeting the time limit. As of now, what happened? If your registration has been cancelled, you need to, and 30 days gone. Now you are, if you want to restore your GSTN, you need to file a appeal, and appeal will be charge or appeal will be hurt or not hurt. They all are covered under this amenities benefit. They they can file extended time limit, or condition is that file all pending return before filing this application under the amenity scheme. If your if your GSTN is cancelled and you are you opt for this scheme, but before filing this scheme you need to file your all pending return up to the date of cancellation of the registration, and the period for the same is 1st April to 30th June. Now, notification number 6. Any pending GST return pertaining attracting the Section 62 of CGST Act. Any taxpayer would default filing in GST return, including GSTR 1, 3B, 4, within 30 days from the service of assessment or assessment order issuing on or before 20th February. They are also included in MNT. What are benefit for that for them? Deem withdrawal of best judgment assessment order under section 62 of the CGST Act, even if appeal is filed or described. Condition is that file your before filing this application or before obtaining the as a MST benefit, they need to file all their pending return with interest and penalty whatever specified in the act, and for time limit for obtaining this scheme is from 1st April to 30th June. Now, notification number 7 for GSTR 9 annual return. Register regular taxpayer are mandated to file GSTR 9 for every year from the introduction of the GST financial year 17-18 to 21 to 22, but they have not filed or non-filing due to any other, irrespective of the due date, or not file return in time, can file GST at 9. Concession rate fee maximum threshold limit for the late file fees 20,000, 10,000 each for CGST, 10,000 for uh, SGST, and the late fees the waived off in excess of 20,000 for delaying filing up to this thing. This period we mentioned for 2017-18 up to the 2021 to 22, and for availing this benefit, it will be available for obtaining or applying for this benefit on or before 30th June. Notification number 8 for GSTR 10 final return for who have a registration under the as a composition dealer need to file annual GSTR 10 return. Taxpayer whose registration is cancelled within the 3 months from the date of cancellation or date of order cancellation, whichever is later, can file their GSTR 10 with concession rate or maximum late fee for GSTR 10 would be 500, 200 and no, 500 for each CGST and SGST. Late fee waive of excess of 1,000 for delayed in filing. 10 condition is there on you can choose to file or off the availment of this benefit on or before 30th June. Thank you for being with us. Now, second session would be start shortly on deliberation on Supreme Court judgment under Section 148 by the CA Nitin Pathak.
Please slide number here. Friends, there is a wonderful presentation on the subject, and I think Nirav has deliberated a very well crafted, very lucid. Uh, Really, I enjoyed all the hearing. It was a practical. We were able to understand each and every word what he said, and congratulations and a really wonderful presentation. And I thought you would be finishing in a half an hour or an hour, but you take more than 1 hour. So I wish, can we postpone this today's lecture, because my lecture would take another 1 hour. And I think the best option is to take the talk again. Okay, I request everyone who can, I'm opening the session for everyone. One second, huh? So anybody wants to ask a question, I unmute, you can unmute yourself. And anyone wants to ask a question, they can ask it. Okay, this is how I'm unmuting all of this one. So you can ask a question, you can unmute yourself, and we have a major issue of political donation, which we already covered in the talk. We have another planned talk on 148 with a recent judgment of Supreme Court. I have covered all the relevant judgment of Supreme Court qua 148A. So what is the main issue in 148A is 148A by mechanism by which you are given an opportunity of being heard before your assessment reopens. And there are 4 to 5 judgment which I have covered in my slides, which I don't want to take it today because of already a talk has been extended. So it would take another 1 hour, and many would not like to listen to this talk also. So I'm not talking on the subject right now, but another planned subject is we are going to talk on new forms and new Income Tax Act. Then we will be considering FEMA overview. So that would be like the day-to-day issue, and NRI taxation we are planning to cover. So anyone has an issue regarding investment, anyone has an issue regarding political donation, anyone has an issue regarding FEMA, that is they want to send money abroad, they want to bring money in, qua section maybe like FEMA, RBA regulation, and then what are the provisions for taxation, why they are issued notice under section 148A for filing a return, and uh, and there are new forms, there are recent changes, MSME. We're planning to cover in the next session to come. So today, I'm just opening the session for anyone to have a question. Then we will stop here. Anyone want to chat it, they can chat also. With this, I'm planning to close with 2 minutes to spare. Anyone want to speak? This political donation is a donation by which people have made a dummy donation. If you say that it is not a donation, nobody is going to believe, because there is a chat available with them, WhatsApp chat, plus there was an agent, there is a commission given, diary is there. There are a lot of document available with them. So, anyone ask a question? Prachi, you want to ask a question? You can unmute and talk.
No, sir.
Okay, good. Thank you. Keep going. Uh, Dilip, you want to ask a question?
Hmm?
Dilip, you want to ask a question?
Deepak.
Deepak and Dilip. Deepak, bhai, you can ask me a question.
Yeah, yeah. In fact, I just wanted to know, okay, there was a genuine donation given to one of the social organizations, and it was an NGO basically based out in Gujarat. So, in fact, we had no clue about okay, whether it's a political or this thing, and what sort of help they given it to other parties. So this was basically out of a genuine this thing, and the charity has been done by giving a by making by transferring the money online through RTGS.
But
So
but if it is this 26 donation which I have given, I have my presentation on slide. Okay,
uh,
you
acha,
can
okay,
go to PPT on that. There are
okay,
list of the donation which are dummy. Because
uh-huh,
what has happened?
yeah,
The enforcement director had been informed by the chief political commissioner.
correct,
You go and check the address of this person, whether they are
mm,
live or not. He is
okay,
given out of these three political trusts.
uh-huh,
They were registered under election protocol,
right,
and there they have found that they are not there. So they asked
okay,
them to raid them. The
mm-hmm,
enforcement director raided them. They have taken
okay,
all the records, they have arrested
uh,
them, and they have
uh-huh,
taken all bad chat of them, WhatsApp
mm-hmm,
chat, email chat. They have made a list of they have got a whole diary with them.
okay,
And on the basis of that, they come to a conclusion. And
uh-huh,
they have kept intermediary in between them.
mm-hmm, okay.
So if you have made a donation to these 26 party, I don't think it would be easy for you to handle them.
No, but no, it is not covered under these 26 parties.
Then
But
why
that
you are worried about? Then you don't need
no,
not worry.
no, this out of these 26 parties, yani the trust which the client has given the donation, they
Huh?
might have funded through probably I don't know, but they might be in collision with the political party of the
No,
26.
that is not the case.
Ah,
You don't assume anything. If
okay.
these are the 27%, then
Uh,
only.
acha, okay.
Otherwise, because I have a trust, I'm spending return of 100 trust, and they
Right.
are receiving donation in crores.
Correct.
And some of the trusts are well-known trusts. They are
Yes,
run
yes.
by the trust only, and they are
Correct.
so trust is doing a genuine service to the nation.
Mm-hmm.
And many countries, including USA and Australia and many other countries,
Right.
there are many things that run by the trust only.
Okay.
And they many times in abroad,
Uh,
many services they provided directly. Suppose they want to help a poor people.
right.
Okay, they give to poor people and they see that they were distributing donations instead of keeping their own manpower.
Right, sir.
And
Correct.
so it is not that all donations are going to be a political donation.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because even BJP is run by political donation only.
I know that everybody for all practical and is seeing the back of it, it is definitely. I mean, everybody's
Are you
so
from
nothing.
Ahmedabad, Deepak bhai?
No, I am based out in Bombay, sir. Yeah.
Okay.
Uh,
But I'm handling around 150 notices of this trust.
Acha, okay. So, so you are based out in Gujarat, sir?
I'm based
Then
in Ahmedabad.
Ahmedabad. Acha, okay. Great. So this
And
is the institution is All India Social this thing at some sort of
but
the
why? But you have not. Have you received notice?
yeah, under 148A, we have received the notice. So they're just giving the submissions on that. So I just wanted any one other because if we don't reply to this notice,
Hmm.
at see maximum they can have it is they levy the this thing interest and penalty on this
Are you are you
keeping
are
that.
you talking about their rights?
Yeah, about the rights.
But they can prosecute you also if it is proved to be a farce.
No, but that they cannot establish. So it's better to give the
They can establish
supposition.
very well.
Ah,
If it is, if
mm,
it is dummy, they can establish. If it is not dummy, they cannot establish.
correct, correct.
They can prosecute you also. And if it
Uh,
is, and I think they can even, if it is more than 3 lakh, more than 2 lakh, they can
mm,
even charge you for 2 lakh getting back cash also. Because they can use multiple section under that.
right.
You can be charged under 68, 69, 69A. There are a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen during this few years, because
Uh,
I'm taking lectures and people are coming with the problems.
uh,
In GST also there are a lot of issues.
okay. Got
Suppose
it.
you have made a purchase which is not genuine, which is not supported by the delivery. Okay.
Right.
So I give you
Uh,
an example.
uh,
I sell a good to A. Okay.
right.
I
Uh,
purchase from B.
mm-hmm.
B has sold me got 100. I sold it 200. All the
Correct.
tax are paid. All
Uh-huh.
the return are up to date file. But if E come and tell me that I have not sell good to Mr. NMP, and,
Uh,
then automatically you would be charged. Not only you would
mm-hmm.
be charged that it is a dummy purchase, but it would be added to income tax also.
Correct.
I have got a notice on the basis
Acha.
of GST enforcement director information that these purchases are dummy,
Uh-huh.
and these are the party who have done the entry, and
Uh-huh.
these are added to your income.
Okay.
So I
Mm-hmm.
advise nobody in this world today
Uh,
go for entry provider business,
correct. Correct.
because
Uh,
what has happened today, they have got so much information available with them.
right. Right.
And if you look at 148A notices, which has, I have a presentation of 6 judgment
Mm-hmm.
on 148A.
Right.
Then I'm going to talk on FEMA.
Uh-huh.
FEMA, overview of FEMA, and
Okay.
so when you can send the money abroad, when you
Uh-huh.
can bring money abroad,
Correct.
what is a resident, what is non-resident, what
Right.
is POI, which I'm going to cover, and
Mm-hmm.
then only for NRI taxation, NRI, what are the formalities you need to comply,
Okay.
and then we are going to talk on the subject called ITR
Mm,
forms, and then we are going to
right.
talk about latest amendment in this
Okay.
thing. So
Uh-huh. Mm,
nowadays the CAs are running in good,
I
because
know.
law has become so complicated. Nobody
Correct.
would
Correct.
like to have a notice also.
Mm-hmm.
Replying is a different issue.
I know. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So
I
Deepak bhai,
understand.
nice to you. Send me your
Yeah.
email
Yeah.
and this thing on this mobile number, and
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
in touch. We have a blog where we can do this. I'm Isaka chapter. I'm running an Isaka chapter in Ahmedabad. My main aim is to
Uh-huh.
uh, distribute the knowledge amongst the, because now knowledge is not a problem. I have a
Uh-huh.
tons of book, but read
I
book ke conclude karna is a very difficult job.
that's what. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
You have a
Absolutely.
lot of material available with you.
Absolutely.
You're
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
people were telling me Chat GPT would do everything for me. Because nonsense.
Uh,
Chat GPT would, if Chat GPT will not be, then no Supreme Court judge, no High Court judge would be required.
correct, absolutely.
They cannot give the answer. They can give you
Naturally.
information on the basis of
I
which
know.
you can
Correct.
go
Correct.
and dig something.
That
I
is
am using
definitely.
Chat GPT to
Uh-huh.
find what I need to check. Then you need to go
Right.
in detail.
Exactly. Exactly. So just to cut short, sir, because I will not take you more time. In fact, so
No, no.
happy to listen to your this thing. Just I need to at least you advise me to at least reply principally on this notice. Kali, best.
Principally, I have replied like this. That this donation I have made it.
Yeah.
Okay, and
Correct.
as information received from media that
Ah.
this is a dummy donation,
Ah.
but I made a genuine donation and I have not received cash back.
Okay.
These are the
Correct.
2-line answer I'm making.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. Uh-huh. All right. I should specify that, na? Basically, they haven't received that back करके.
But as here from social media.
Uh-huh. Okay.
But you are not confessing.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
आप बैल मुझे मान नहीं करते हो.
Uh-huh. Naturally. Uh-huh.
Because you are saying that on the basis of information available from social media and media,
Uh-huh.
that people are making a dummy donation. But I am not this kind of person.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
I made 2-line reply.
Okay. Fine. So I'll attach my bank statement and the receipt for this
No,
thing.
you
That's
don't need to.
we
It
don't
doesn't
need.
affect you.
Acha.
What does it serve them?
Uh-huh.
It doesn't serve that you don't made a donation. They say that
Right.
you made a donation.
Mm-hmm.
They are not asking on that.
Okay.
They are
Okay.
not asking that whether you received cashback or not.
Mm-hmm.
They are said if you made a donation, it's okay. Your case would be reopened. Whatever reply you are going to make it.
Acha. Okay. So they'll serve the 148 notice in any case.
Then you file a return and do something.
Uh-huh. All
Because
right.
I've got 150 notices, so I know how to handle them.
Acha. Acha. Correct. Correct.
I will manage in anyhow to make the things, but I cannot guarantee you right now.
Uh-huh.
कैंसर
Right.
थर्ड स्टेज पेशेंट છે એટલે 30% તો ઇમ્પ્રુવ 40% તો ઇમ્પ્રુવમેન્ટ થવાના ચાન્સીસ છે but
Uh-huh.
you cannot make sure that
Yeah.
all your cases
Yeah.
would be solved out,
I understand. Right. Right. Right.
but few would be saved according to me.
Mm-hmm. Acha. Okay. Okay.
But we are generally in our office also we are making genuine donation.
Uh-huh.
One of our trustees running our trust is number one in Ahmedabad, number one in India.
Uh-huh.
So we ask people to make a donation.
Mm-hmm.
So there they receive donation in crores.
Uh-huh.
I don't think
Yeah.
we have got few trusts which are genuine one. I am filing
Mm-hmm.
100 Gs trust return. I
Uh-huh.
don't think and government at the time of any problem, government
Mm-hmm.
would first go to NGO.
Okay.
Please support India.
Right. That
You
is
see
always there.
in the time of COVID also.
I know. That was, yeah. And some of the NGOs are really doing well. No, it's not that but and ultimately the whole purpose is irrespective of whether somebody is getting this case back or something, but ultimately the money is spent on the charity.
No, that is not the way. Listen, no,
Still, I mean, yeah.
don't make oblige country. I don't want any obligation on country.
Uh,
Law is law.
Lois, I understand that's what I have to
The
look at.
country doesn't want your money. You don't pay
Hmm.
tax because of क्या बोलते हैं, out of nationalism. No.
Uh-huh.
Now government doesn't say so. 5-10 साल पहले बोलते थे
Uh,
patriotism. Now there is no patriotism. You
tourism,
pay
yeah.
tax, otherwise you be doomed out.
Right. Correct.
So
Correct.
you go to government office, they would
Uh-huh.
treat you like a
Uh,
good person. But if you made
uh,
something wrong, you will see that
mhm.
you're being this thing. So
Correct.
government is running good. Our country is going good.
Mm-hmm. Good. Good. Yeah.
Okay, shall we
Sure.
close it?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Please. Thanks.
last but not least, we are
Uh,
going to have a talk on FEMA overview, NRI, IT updates,
uh,
and this thing, MSM, everything.
okay.
Everybody, Dilip Shah and everybody, thank you very much. See you once again. And
Thanks
thanks
a
to
lot. Thanks a lot.
kudos to Niro. He took a wonderful talk. Really, I'm surprised. I should not surprise. I should trust him. But he's done beyond imagination. Really, once again, congratulations. See you once again. All the best. See you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.